Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to use Excel to calculate certain values. So this is the PowerPoint that we did in class, and I'm just going to show you how the Excel portion works in case you were absent or something. So essentially, we were given this data set right here. And from that, we wanted to use it to figure out things such as the height in decimal feet, the height in overall inches, and then calculate the minimum, the maximum, the average, the median, the mode, standard deviation, all that good stuff. So I'm going to show you how to do that in Excel. So the first thing I'm going to do is maybe I'll split my screen to help. Is I'm going to kind of type in information like you see over here. So I'm going to make it for A2 right here. I'm going to type in my name, Mr. Cooperman. I'll type in height of students as my title. Then I'll type in feet in cell A4. In cell B4, I will type in inches. And then I'll type in these data values. So and it should line up perfectly. I will go all the way down to A16 as I do over here. Okay. So now that I have that, I'm going to come over here to cell 6-4, and I want this cell to do a calculation for me. I want this cell to calculate decimal feet. And we did this in the previous unit. And if it bothers you that it carries over to cell C4 carries over to D4, I don't like that. If it bothers you too, you can go over here and move it over, or I'm going to hit backspace. You can double click right here, and it'll automatically make the column width what you need. I'm going to type in a formula over here. Now, we should know that decimal feet, to get decimal feet, you do the feet, and then you convert this to feet as well, and then add them together. So 6 inches is half of a foot, so 5 feet, 6 inches would be 5.5 feet. Now, we need to convert that to a formula that Excel can understand. So in cell C5, I'm going to say that this is equal to the overall feet, and I'm going to say plus the inches divided by 12. So what that'll do, remember it follows PEMDAS, is it'll say cell B5, which is inches, will be divided by 12, which converts it to feet, and then I will add back the total feet. So this should be 5.5, and when I hit enter, it is. Notice that I'm not typing in 5.5. That might look good, but that's not really meeting our design intent, because if we have a formula here and I change these values, it'll automatically update here as well. That's what we want. We don't want this to be 5 plus 6 divided by 12. We want it to be the actual cell itself. Okay, so on this column right here, I'm going to say total inches. And again, I'm going to double click right here to keep it not extending beyond the limits of the cell. So if I want to get the overall inches, there's actually 2 ways to do it. I'm going to go to cell D5, and I could say that this is equal to the overall feet times 12 to get that into inches, and then I can add the remainder, which would be right here. Another thing I could have done, let me delete that, is I could have just said this is equal to, well, the decimal feet times 12 directly. Either way, same answer. Now, we're going to do that for all of these, but I really don't want to type in all of the values. So I'm going to show you how to copy logic. So if I highlight these 2 cells, look at my cursor. Right now, it's a white thick cross. If I go over to the bottom right corner, it'll turn into a thin black cross. Nope. Yes. When it's like that, I want you to click, hold, and drag it down. And that'll copy the logic down. So if I click on any of these cells, this cell, D14, is C14 times 12, because I'm in row 14. This one right here is the same logic as the first one, but it's just carrying over the cell one row lower. So the logic is the same for each one, whatever row it currently is located in. Now let's clean this up a little bit. Maybe I want to make these not have all these extra decimal places. That kind of looks ugly. So I'm going to highlight this column, these cells right here, and I'm going to right click and then hit Format Cells. And now you can choose the category. Now if this was money, I might say this is currency. If this was a percentage, I will say percentage. Or if it was a date, I would do this. Now, this is a number, so I'm going to choose number, and I'm going to say I want 2 decimal places. And now we're good. I can clean this up further by maybe highlighting all the cells and then saying I want you to be centered. So you can center it over here. This centers it horizontally. Now, I don't like the way this looks, so maybe I want all these cells to be merged together. So I'm going to highlight these cells and hit Merge and Center. Maybe I want this bold. I'm going to merge these. Maybe I want this unbolded. Maybe I want to add a border. I'm going to highlight everything and then hit all borders. And I'm going to give it a thick outside border. I'm going to make these thicker borders. Just ways to make it prettier. Maybe I want to add another column to the left. I'm going to right click here and say Insert, just to make it look prettier. It doesn't really matter right now with the formatting. I'm just showing you what looks good. So now that we have our data imported, we are now going to calculate a few other things pertaining to the data. Maybe I want to know what the overall sum of all the heights are. So maybe over here I'm going to merge these cells and I'm going to say sum. And if I want to calculate all these cells added together, you could say it's equal to this plus this plus this. That's really complex. So if I hit D17, well, let me delete this cell just so it's not necessarily different. It doesn't really matter too much, as long as the logic's the same. I'm going to say this is equal to, I'm going to type in SUM, sum, and I'm going to double click it. And this will now give me the sum of an array. An array is just a set of numbers. So if I do equals sum, open parenthesis, and then highlight these cells right here, cell C17 will give me the sum of those cells. It'll add it up for me. And it'll follow the logic down as well. Okay, maybe I want to calculate the mean. So I'm going to just type in mean and keep it organized. And I'm going to say this is equal to the mean. Now you'll notice that there actually is not a mean. When I type in equals mean, it doesn't come up. So to get mean, we're actually going to type in average. And then once you see it up here, double click it, highlight the cells that you want. Don't get the sum one. We really are just analyzing cells in rows 5 through 16. And hit enter. I'll do median as well. I can do mode. I can do, what will I do? Standard deviation, and let's do all those. So for median, I'm going to do equals median. For the mode, equals mode. And we can do a singular mode. And standard deviation, I'm going to type in ST. And you have two options. When it says STDEV, that stands for standard deviation. And then when it says P, that's for an overall population. When it's S, it's only a sample. For this class, for now, let's just always do the P one. Okay, let's go back to the PowerPoint. And let's see what else that they have. And here is where it tells you all the Excel commands, the way you would type it in. So the only one we're missing is min and max. So if we're trying to find the range, you'll notice that if you type in equals RANG, there is no 1 for range. However, we can calculate range pretty easily. So we're going to first find the max, then we're going to find the min, and you guys should know at this point in the game that the range is going to be equal to the max minus the min. So first, let's find the maximum, equals max of these values. And if you look at it real quick, you should find that, I guess the 6.33 should be the max. But they can do it without making any mistakes. For minimum, I'm going to do equals min. And then the range, I'm going to do, the range is equal to the maximum minus the minimum. Okay. Now I'm going to highlight these cells, and I'm going to drag it over to the right one time to give me the same thing for the total inches column. Maybe I'm going to clean this up a little bit. I'm going to tell it, give me all borders. Center it. Maybe I want the standard deviation to have the 2 decimal places. Makes it just look a little bit nicer. Maybe add thick borders. Maybe I want to bold this. That looks a little better for me. You can even move it if you want. I could highlight these cells and I'm going to just move it to over here so I can see it more clearly. Maybe I have to clean up the formatting a bit, but that works. So I think that's a good stopping point for this video. And in the next video, I will show you how to do the frequency chart and the histogram.